Good morning, guys. I hope everybody's doing well. We've got some pretty cool stuff today. Going over some news. Um, it's been really fun. Kind of the market's been kind of up and down, so it's been an interesting day for me so far. Um, yeah, what are you gonna do, right? But I just wanted to pop in and say hi to you guys, talk about some crypto stuff, and then also kind of bring up some news as well. We'll be going over charting. Might have a few other new people come up in here. We have a couple people from Telegram who run a couple other projects and programs that do just add a bunch of value to the crypto market. So if they decide they want to pop in, that'd be great as well. So if anybody has any questions, any concerns, or want me to go look at any type of charts, let me know, and it will be on. So let me go ahead and pull this up here real quick. Um, here we are. So let's go ahead and bring up the idea. One of the top things here is that Elon Musk is finally moving forward with buying Twitter. Supposedly, they did disclose all of the information that they've talked about. It's really interesting to see how he's handling this type of situation, right? I was actually pretty impressed with him just kind of holding out and just being like, no, you guys lied. That's actually, I respect that. And the fact is that they were, threatening to sue him. He was like, you brought me into this contract under false pretense. So I'm not obligated to go ahead and move forward with this based off of what we agreed to in the first place. So it's really interesting to see how this is all kind of going with just within the market at large. And crypto, as anything dealing with crypto, anything like that, sometimes you got to really look into the blockchain, look into the actual sales part, and really see what's actually going on. So it's really interesting to see as we move forward. The additional part to that as well is looking at the markets overall. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm tired. But I almost forgot about doing something here. Give me 1 second. One of the things that I do bring up is that the Kremlin or the EU has now completely banned on all cross-border crypto payments. They basically banned all cross-border payments for the for Europe to do any type of business with uh, with the Kremlin. Basically, just trying to make sure that Russia is having a very hard time. The original law was basically they can only send up to $10,000 or like 900 and like was it 9,900 is what they could really do by sending through crypto. But now they're literally just banning all crypto payments completely to Russia. So it's really interesting to see what's actually going to happen. And I know a lot of Ukrainian people or a lot of Russian people were exchanging because of families, money and stuff like that. So it's really interesting. Our friend, um, excuse me, Gabriel, he basically brought up some interesting stuff regarding, Russia and Poland and Ukraine and how that's all working. So it's really interesting to see. He'll probably be coming on the show here. So I want to know what his thoughts are on this as well. Um, but it's really, and I'll read the last little part of the report. It says, this comes shortly after Russia's officials approval of the usage of crypto for cross-border payments. So basically, Russia. Oh yeah, basically, I forgot we actually talked about that earlier. This comes shortly after Russia officials approval of the usage of crypto for cross-border payments, and the policy which approves such transactions. Lawmakers described ways to acquire cryptocurrency and its usage. So I just found this really interesting that back when Russia is finally setting up their whole entire blockchain for crypto, right, and to be able to do business and exchange, Europe goes, nope, we're done. So it's really interesting to see that happening as as the war continues and what is happening in that venue. Um, but I don't know why yawning. That's just weird. But that's really weird why I'm yawning. Um, but apologize behind that. So I'm finding this a unique idea because the reality is when I look at the market, right, and I see this stuff, like these certain things should have affected the market, right? Like we should have seen Bitcoin with that news really do kind of a massive sell off, right? Like to the point where we go down below these levels here, right? The ones that I've been talking about, but yet we actually see actually more buyers stepping in, and the additional part behind it as well is the if we look at Bitcoin's shorts, right? Bitcoin shorts, you can see, and I was reading an article that basically said saw an uptick in Bitcoin shorts, right? It's what they saw. And I'm looking at this now. I didn't actually check it out, but I'm actually seeing Bitcoin shorts actually dropping here. So maybe it upticked more. I would have thought that really big. I thought Bitcoin longs were actually picking up. You know, we brought this up a few times. Come on, you know, this is just article I was reading through. And I didn't go through and check it out. Yeah, man, look at that. We're actually seeing more of an uptick of it coming back up into these levels. So it's really interesting to sit there and see that Bitcoin longs are being pressed in. Now it's really interesting also to see. Now I know this looks scary, but when you look at the actual weekly chart of this, you can see that's a very minute amount, right? In comparison to like the shorts and longs. Like we saw this dip right here, right, which was a pretty significant dip. But ergo, the rest of the chart, um, this is a very small um, correction, or yeah, I wouldn't even call it even a correction because a correction means it has to come down at least to like 15% is a correction, and that even come maybe five, maybe. You know, so it'd be really interesting to gauge how much that really. Actually, I can find out right here. But just the idea is this: it's real simple. That the markets definitely are. Here we go. Place it right here. Yeah, not even. We got it right here. Look. Maybe 5%. Maybe. I'm actually curious to see now what that would be. Let's throw in maybe just throw in some 5% right here. So 0.5 to 0.05. Where's my 0.05? Right here. Nope. Nope. Oh, where's my 0.05? Should be right here. I don't know why it's not working. One more time. Let's see. Oh, I get it. Okay, so maybe I need to do it over here. It's not 5. Let's try this here. 5. There we go. Nah, so maybe 10% then is what it retraced down to from the previous lows or from the dip. So let's try this out real quick. Yeah, so 10%. So in comparison to the whole entire shebang right here, um, it wasn't, it was kind of a decent sell-off for the actual longs. So which means that you had an uptick, either shorts or lack thereof shorts, right? So it's just, it's interesting to sit there as some of these articles. And like it's so important to go through and make sure you read and check out the actual full article of it. But I the reason why I'm showing us this is literally because just the idea of, well, the markets, right? Like we should have seen a sell-off off of these levels, right? Like, basically Bitcoin being banned and transactions being stopped for Russia, right? Well, we didn't really see much here, so it's just really interesting to sit there and see what's actually going on. In addition to that, and the only thing I can think about it is just that basically people aren't selling off Bitcoin. So then we basically would have more people actually coming in and pushing the markets up because they're not selling things off. That's what maybe I can think about, in regards to this. But you can see here though that Bitcoin is kind of holding strong and with people actually purchasing it as it keeps going lower. So it's really interesting to see this process as we keep moving. And when we look at the actual futures, um, whereas the S&P 500, right, and Ethereum, right, all of this is, I find very interesting, just primarily because it allows you to be able to see how, whereas the S&P 500 is dropping, which is right here, okay? I mean, like this huge leg down here, we didn't see it with Bitcoin. We literally didn't see it in Bitcoin. It went sideways throughout this whole entire period, right? Like we look at the timing period of September 13th, right? And we come into Bitcoin. We can see from September 13th, like here we go, September 13th here, right? Like look, like here's September 13th. We had a drop, but we've gone sideways here. And we've been playing off of our demand zone here that this is, I think this is a weekly zone here that we're sitting at. Yeah, this is a weekly zone. So it's very interesting, right? That we did not see that huge sell-off like the S&P 500. So it's just one of those things that I think, Bitcoin might be holding. This is crazy to even say, and I might even sound like a complete idiot, but Bitcoin might be holding up the whole entire world's markets by just its trust. That's just insanity to even say, but I mean, who knows, man? I mean, especially with what we've been seeing in the markets and how we've been seeing how the markets interact with other markets. Bitcoin, it's strong. And I'm impressed with it. I really am. The only thing I'm a little nervous is that we did not put that buyer wick down here. We see more seller wicks here. But as of right now, we are holding here. So that's impressive. We are at that weekly 8-period moving average. Is this going to, if this stops us, it would truly say that I think that would be a rejection of price. And we would see price then sell off over the next week. If we see Monday go up and Tuesday go up, that's, Monday or Tuesday going up. I would think that would be a position for me to think that they're going short. But again, if the market's moving up, go long. So, but this is something that I find really unique. The other thing I actually find also interesting is when it comes to, oh, I also want to throw this out. So I use for me to get all my news, I have a friend of mine, or associate. I mean, we're developing friendship, right? He's a business partner as of right now. We're just talking about things and doing things. But he's a pretty nice guy, really nice guy. His name is Master Lee. That's Master and LE. You can find him on his on LinkedIn as Master Lee. But he created this website that I'm actually putting inside of the comments here. And basically, you can capture like 15 news sources that deal with crypto and everything, just common news, basically from Cointelegraph, CoinGate. You have Watcher Guru, CoinCU, CoinDesk. And then he also has a lot of ones that I look at as well, the Decrypt, Bitcoin Magazine, Data Dash, and then you have Master Lee, his view, right? These are basically little reports that you can go through and check out. Like I said, CoinDesk is on them. Coin Bureau. If you look at your stuff from him, he goes over a lot of stuff, especially in particular, he does videos and stuff like that, I believe, on his on the website as well. And then you can go into Forbes, like mainstream media stuff, financial posts, TechCrunch, Hacker Noon. These are just some of the stuff that you can pay attention to see what's actually going on with tech and just Forbes and in regards to financial stuff. So I want you to check out his website because he's done a great job with it. And then they're coming out with a version 2 where you'll actually be able to bring stuff in, look at. So look, check out this website. I think you guys will like it. So the reason why I'm putting it out there is because he also goes through, and with that, like that's where I get all my news. So and I do have a few more other stuff outside of that, but he does such a great job just curating it and bringing it into one singular web page instead of you having to go bouncing all over the place. I need to get him to put in the what's it called? Unfolded. So I need to let him know he needs to get unfolded into it. I should do that right now. But overall in general though, I feel like these markets are holding up fairly good. I mean, impressively good. So I'm impressed with them. Absolutely impressed with what they're actually doing and how they're actually setting things up and what they've been doing, because ultimately, like, that is really what I think the rest of the world is sitting there watching it, going, "Huh, that's really unique." That's not something that is normal. So we'll find out what happens ultimately. But I feel like the markets are at that point. Give me 1 second. It's so interesting. I put my name in crypto for like Pedro Garcia crypto. And what I find is some days I pop right up. I mean, it is like I pop right up. And then some days it's like I'm like third guy down or fourth guy down. So I don't understand. Maybe it's the algorithms and what's actually going on. Oh shoot, Corey Dees is here. How you doing? Come on in, my brother. How you been, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you guys doing today?
Doing good, man. We just out here streaming, having a little fun, checking out the markets, enjoying some of the news that we've been talking about. Bringing some. I'm talking about Master Lee, a person that I met on LinkedIn, and he's really good. He's actually curated all the top news stuff and all of the markets. He's basically gone through and really just he's done a great job just curating everything, putting it into one space. And and so I actually just put it in the comment section of our group, and I just was telling people go check him out. He does a great job in regards to basically, just putting things together, so you don't have to jump all over the place. I don't know if you've like went to go look at news, but it's like some have a great, they've got 4 or 5 great stories, but then they miss like the what's going on. Like they hit the Americas, great, but then they miss some of the bureaucracy going on in crypto within the EU or down in Africa, right? And so if you can, and what he's done, he's put everybody kind of all together, and basically if you can just go through and just click through, and he's done a great job with it. So just throwing
Oh,
his name out there.
that's a pretty cool service.
Yeah, and it's for
Where'd you
free. That's
say?
the other part.
Where's his info at?
Actually, if you go into the comment section, you can actually see it. I'll just send it to you in the private chat here.
Oh, I see it there. All right, perfect.
Yeah, yeah, check him out. He's awesome, but he's really good because, instead of me, there was a while where I was taking 4 or 5 hours jumping from one to another, right? And now it's as simple as click, read through the articles, click, boom, boom, and just kind of get everything all in one setting. So it's actually been pretty dope to be able to just sit there and allow it all to be in one spot. It's
Yeah,
pretty dope.
exactly.
It can be kind of
Well,
frustrating. You're just like, go ahead.
What'd you learn from today?
So,
What moves you making?
so for me personally, right? So I would have thought that the whole entire banning of Russia and them not being able to buy and sell crypto, right, would have had some major effects in the market. That's one of the biggest. Like, I'll read through all the news and really kind of hit some of the ones that I feel like should have affected the market or is affecting the market, right? And right now we're seeing Bitcoin move up, right? And that to me is a crazy thing, or at least sideways up, right? It's not, because right now we've been in this sideways pattern here for a while, right? This was the day in which the S&P 500 really just sold off, right? I was just bringing this up here to the
That was
viewers.
that
Oh shoot.
that 3%. Was that 3% day?
Yeah, exactly. That was
Yeah.
this day right here, right? Boom, that drops, right? And then we came down into our demand zone that we have down here, right? But look, this huge leg down, right? If you look at Bitcoin, was this leg down, right? And up to this point, we started seeing literally, for lack of a better word, and lock in step with the traditional markets, right? Where we literally just started. When the Nasdaq would go up, we would go up. When the Nasdaq would go down, the S&P 500 would go down. It was a pretty strong correlation. But after this point, right, we started seeing the market started going sideways here, and then we went to go look at the Bitcoin longs, right? And to me, when you sat there and you're watching the Bitcoin longs, it was really interesting. Okay, so we look at the long and shorts and what's going on with it, right? And so when you look at that, like, we see this drop sideways pattern, right? It's it's boom sideways kind of going, and the other part behind it is putting in lower highs, or excuse me, higher lows, and same highs, right? And to me, when I see that happening, like, to me, I'm looking at the going, right? Like, it's indicating really what it wants to do. Like, it wants to move up, right? And then, so what do? You need to find a trending mechanism to be able to play, right, off of that. Well, to me, my trending mechanism is the 8 period moving average. Is what I use personally to kind of look at the markets and gauge what it wants to do, right? You can see we found support here. And now we're trying to, if we do see a sell off, or we'll see another one. But in addition, let's say I want to get into the nuts and bolts of what's actually going on. So then I go to look at the long and shorts. Are you familiar with this?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm a
Okay.
I'm a bad trader, but very familiar.
No, I don't believe in bad traders. I believe in traders who haven't really been listening to their rules or set rules.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's more of a time thing where I'm a better buy and hold person. So for me, I've got a lot in stablecoin right now, just sitting there, and I'm waiting for trying to determine what's that right signal for me to start unloading those stablecoins. And I don't know if it's now, if it was last week, if it's in 2 months. So I'm interested to hear your take about the
Oh
broader
yeah.
market.
Well, first of all, I want
But
you to real quick to talk
keep
about.
going down where you're going, man.
I will. I definitely. I want to pull something else up on what you're saying, because I want to bring in a couple things for you to kind of look at. Um, Real quick, shout out who you are, what you do, and how we've been interacting with each other now back and forth in the Coin Launch Lounge and a couple other
Yeah.
things. But I want, and you bring a great service to the market, and you do a lot of good stuff. So I always like to spotlight guys who are just doing good things in the market, within crypto, especially DeFi. Like, we don't really get a lot of name and a lot of publicity, even though we're doing great things,
Hmm.
right? It's almost, it's go ahead, talk about yourself real quick,
Well, I
please. And
appreciate
I
that. Yeah,
know,
yeah. So,
go.
yeah, really appreciate that. Corey D's here. A lot of my time spent in the DeFi space as a developer, primarily on the Binance Smart Chain. Um, that's where we see a lot of our DApps being built, just from a gas standpoint. Built a couple DApps on Ethereum network, but my home and my comfort zone really on BSC. Uh, One of the most popular DApps that I built and currently running, DogeBets.gg. It's a price prediction game. So if you're familiar with the pancake swap version of predictions, we offer a more fair and accurate version. We get real-time price updates. We got an active community on Telegram. We do giveaways, but we're looking at 5-minute rounds. So the price action on any chosen asset, whether it's BNB or BTC, is the price going to go up or down over the next 5 minutes. From a TA standpoint, There are
Yeah.
some indicators you could probably use to have a better edge, but full transparency, Doge Bets is 100% a gambling platform. So if you wager one BNB that BTC is going to go up over the next 5 minutes, you place your bet, you watch your chart, and if you choose correctly, you about 2x your bet every time there. But it's a gambling platform. We're having a great time over there, building out new features. Again, it's truly community driven. So whatever the community wants to see and build, what features they want, we'll build it out. But we're having a good time. So it's nice for me to step back a little bit from the 5 minute windows that I'm looking at on Doge bets for my players, and look a little bit broader for maybe the month, 6 month, 12 month. That's kind of the window where I'm looking to unload some of my stable coin now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I I mean, have you ever played at it at yourself, like to try to see if you can
Oh
win it?
yeah, I'm terrible at it. I'm like a 50% win rate, so that tells me it truly is almost a game of luck. But I have
Yeah,
seen one interesting thing. I have seen so players who are successful on the prediction game, what they'll do is they'll play. Let me take a step back. Players who try to catch a falling knife and time a reversal, they get wrecked every time. They'll look at it and say, "Oh, there were 4 rounds in a row that were up. The price went up. It's going to go down." No, the players who do well are
go with the
when
trend.
you see 5, 6, 7 rounds in a row, they'll bet the macro trends. They'll zoom it out a little bit, and they're going to say, it's going to go up over the next couple hours. I'm going to bet every round up. They'll win some and lose some, but they'll usually end up on top, playing those larger trends. People who are trying to bet 5 minutes, saying, "Oh, it just Bitcoin jumped $200 in the last 5 minutes. It's going to go down now." No, you're going to get ruined. But it's interesting to see people's strategies and how they play a 5 minute game versus how they actually trade. But love to hear your take on it, and maybe there's some
Yeah,
strategies I can get back to my community, or maybe we can even get you over there to do
yeah,
some broader general TA and what
yeah.
people can look out for.
I think that'd be. And listen, I'm huge in if the market is going up, and I always I shoot the 5-10 minute videos all the time, right? In many of the communities I'm a part of, and my biggest thing that I bring up is this: is that if the market is going down, short the market.
Yeah.
If the or stay out of it. If you don't know how to short and you're not good at it. And it takes the same amount of skills to learn how to. If you can go long well, you can go short well. It's the same skill set. You just got to learn how to flip it in your head. But it's pretty much the same thing, right? If the market is moving up, go long. Like
Yeah.
don't fight the trend. And so it's one of those things that you can sit there and play. And like overall, because I mean, like here's one for you. And this is the other thing I always tell people: look, if you're going to bet a reversal, you need a higher time frame catalyst that's going to communicate with you that we're going to see a drop, right? So, oh, Brinks is
Hmm.
here. And so, hey, Brinks, how you doing? It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We're just going over real quick some of the stuff that's going on in the market. So let's bring it up here real quick. So we're looking at Bitcoin longs, right? This is tradable. You can actually trade this, right? So look, you can see that this 8 period moving average is now starting the trend. You can see here, down here in the early part of the day, that they want to go up, okay? And so they're starting to push it up. They're following this 8 period moving average. So some that you could use as a way to be able to garner a correct movement, right? And so the other thing I always tell people is look to see who's in control, right? Short term, long term, who's in control. One of the ways you can do it is simply by looking at, and let's see if Brinks will know. If the market is going up, what are 2 things you should be looking for?
Like the total market,
No,
or
5 minute move. If you're looking,
I'm not sure.
you want to be paying attention to 2 things. One, the wicks. Two, the moving averages. Right? And so those 2 things will give you, like, if I'm moving up, right, and it's starting to bounce off this 8, but I'm seeing seller wicks come in. Well, most likely those seller wicks are indicating to me, hey, we're probably going to see a reversal. But until I see me break this 8 period moving average here, I'm not going to go short because it's trending on the 5 minute. or excuse me, 4 hours. I apologize. It's a 4 hour chart. But in the same sense, these are micro trades, right? But those were larger time frames. So you can sit there and bet, okay, if you're going to go long on a chart, you want to make sure that you pick 3 or 4 charts that are moving up, okay, and then play off of it, right? Boom. If it's coming down, look, you can see here, it's coming down on the 4 hour, right? So if we're moving up, you can play between this little buying point here. You can sit there and say, okay, here's a junctional point that we've seen it now fall through when it comes to retest. But until we get to this higher time frame turnaround point, okay, on your 5 minute, you go long. Like, go long. Like, if I don't know how to say it again, go long if you're above that. And like I said, I use the ape here. The other people use other trending mechanisms, right? Because the market typically goes sideways 60% of the time, right? On a daily basis. If you're looking at a smaller time frame, you're still going to have 60% of the time going sideways. So you want to wait until there is a trend that starts to move, right? So as you see us break through, you can see here, we start to break through these moving averages, which is my trending mechanisms that I use. But there are many out there, Bollinger Bands, what do you call the Heikenaki ones for the candles, or I forget how to say it. There's also the cloud-based ones that let you know when trend is starting to change. But you can sit there and play off it and do a pretty good accuracy. You know what I'm saying? So these small little things you can use. But if I go and I start telling them that, right, then it's going to throw off your win to loss ratio, because then everybody's going to play in one side off of your thing. So not a lot of people start. The people who are making money won't. So should I come on to your platform, Corey?
Yeah, I think it's worth, and that's what's so interesting about Dogebits too, is since it is peer to peer, like you're saying, if everybody then starts, let's say everybody gets this, they flip the switch and they get it. If
Yeah.
everybody starts betting that downtrend, and let's say only 5 minutes tells them to go down, and they start winning, their payout ratio does drop because the peers that they're playing with are also betting the same side. So it is a psychological game where you want to bet the market and choose correctly, but you also want to try to get an advantage over the other players so you get a higher payout. So it's
You know
a
what?
fun game. It's very dynamic.
I'll come over in 6 months.
That sounds good, man. How about this? You come on over. Whenever you're ready, come on over. I'll throw you a bean that you can play around with on the platform, and see how you do.
Yeah, actually, that would be
Do
really
some live
fun.
streaming here. Yeah, I'll give you a bean if you
That
ever
would
want
be
to live
fun.
stream it, man.
Just and whatever you want me to do. You don't even. We could do even just faking it. But I don't. One thing I try to do is I'm one of those guys that's free. I want people to come because they want to, right? And
Yeah,
I want people to find. You don't need to. You don't need to do that just because. I have other ways. That I bring money in. So, but my goal is really to really help people stay informed, because I really do believe that crypto is the future, like legitly the future. So, for myself, I want to be able to. I wish. Oh man, how old? I was 20 or 37. That this was 5 years ago, right? 6 years ago, and I had friends of mine telling me get into crypto. I had a friend, literally, I was a door knocker, right, back in 2000 when I started door knocking really for like Comcast and stuff. And I I had a friend of mine, because I was still a trader and trying to figure out my game, right? It wasn't consistent at the time, but I was doing, I would win some, lose some, win some, lose some, right?
Yeah.
And I and remember, he came up to me, he goes, "What do you think about Bitcoin?" I go, "Oh, that's not funny money." He goes, "It just hit $100 though." And I go, "Oh, dude, it's going down." And so I looked at the chart, right? And I was like, "Oh, it'll come down to here." And he goes, "Okay, right." So he bought in, right? He got in, like,
Yeah.
and I sit there and I look back. I remember when it also hit like 100 something, or maybe it was 1,000 when Ethereum came out, right? And literally, I was huge into AI, and I was huge into quantum computing. I was just fascinated with it, right? And so, Sophia, the android, her maker, she's now a she. I can literally call her a she. She's actually identifies as a she. But she was literally going through and And this is what blew me away. He came out and said, somebody asked him, how are you building it? Because it's a group effort. And they said, oh, it's on the Ethereum network. You should. And the guy goes, you should buy Ethereum. It's going to be really, really big. It's a cryptocurrency. And again, I heard it. And this is when I went and looked it up, the price, and I think it was like 25 cents. And I still didn't do it. And this was, right. So, like
It's
I
like
think,
someone in the 20s or someone in whatever saying, "Man, these cars, these internal combustion engines, are gonna be the wave of the future. You gotta see one of these cars come by, or the steam locomotive, the steam engine rolling down the track." You're like, "That's bullshit. I'm not
yeah,
giving up
that
my
was,
horse." But I still think generally we're still early. No,
yeah,
Bitcoin's not $100. No,
yeah.
Ethereum's not a quarter. Um, Now, my real question for people is, people who did buy at 100, did they hold to 50,000, or did they get their 10x at 1,000 and say, "Woohoo, I did it"?
Yeah.
It's easy. Hindsight's 2020, but
I actually know someone that back when Bitcoin was like under $1, told me that he got like 20 Bitcoin for free or something.
Yeah.
Because like
yeah.
there were like promotions through like magazines or something
Credit
where like,
cards.
huh?
You could get it through credit cards too if you by signing up. There was a
Oh,
point in time where you could. Yeah.
Yeah, like there was like a magazine that he found, and he just bought like 4 of the magazines. Gave different emails, different wallet addresses. He's like, it's not gonna hurt me if I get these free Bitcoin and they don't do anything. So like he sold 4 of them at like $100. He sold another 4 at like $1,000, and then I think he sold a little bit another 4 at like 10,000. But then he's like, oh, okay. Now that it hit $10,000, he's like, I'm never gonna sell these last 4 unless I
Yes.
absolutely have to, because he's like, it's most likely gonna go up.
Man. Wow. That's cool. That's actually really
Well,
cool.
congrats.
Oh, we just lost him. Oh, that stinks. Oh, he'll come on in a second.
Yeah.
Corey, if you're listening, just go ahead and just re-click that link, and I'll see you pop in. So you should be good. But man,
But like that's why you always gotta leave in moon bags.
yeah, dude.
Or rip FT, because like you never know, like you could be holding like $1 million one day just in the free tokens.
It was funny. It was I forget who the guy was. All right, I know who the guy is. So he actually got into Shiba Inu on the first day it launched.
Oh wow.
He put in $100, and he walked out with like $200, $300. Right? It skyrocketed. Right? He was like, okay, I got mine, but he took everything out. I didn't leave a moon bag. And he basically had, I think it was,
And then with how low the price got, and at how low the trade volume was, he probably never bought back on the bottom.
oh, he totally forgot.
With anything, huh?
He totally forgot. We were actually live streaming with him, and he basically went through and give me 1 second here real quick. Corey just private message. My internet being wacky. Oh, good. Come on when you can. And so he goes in, and he basically,
I have a call coming in.
all right. So basically, he goes long, and he buys in out of really. I think he had something like almost like a trillion, something like, I want to say a trillion. And he was going through, and we were talking about this. I'm sorry, I'm doing like 4 things at one time. I apologize, guys, for that. Give me 1 second. And market, like he was sitting there going long, like he bought Shiba Inu real quick. He he made his money and then he got out. So we were on live with us, and so I said, "How much would it be worth today?" So he goes, "Well, it's in one of my wallets, definitely. It was years ago." And so he goes in, he searches through all his wallets, right, while we're talking back and forth, and basically it would be worth because you can calculate how much Shiba Inu would be, right, ETH wise. And so he goes through, and it would have been something like I think like he said it would be worth almost 15 million. That $100 would have turned into 15 million at Shiba Inu's top tier when it hit its all-time high. And I mean right now it would be worth about a $1.5 million, like in comparison. And I just was just like, man, how do you sit there, right? And so when you first start crypto, you're like, just rip FT, or just rip, right, is what he did instead of rip FT. So what are you gonna do, right? How you doing, Gabriel? How's your day?
Hey,
Good.
I'm good. I'm calculating still, so as always.
So question that I have for you is in regards to the markets, right? And this is be real interesting. Is what do you think about Russia being banned from the EU and not being allowed to exchange crypto back and forth anymore? What are your thoughts on that? I'm curious.
But they already have banned them, or
Yeah,
plan to do
banned.
it.
No, they bound them. They came out tonight, or they came out last night into the day, and I thought we were going to see a major sell-off with Bitcoin, but we didn't. So I'm actually impressed with that. But what are your thoughts?
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, very
I don't
interesting.
know. I would have to think about it.
Yeah, I
So
was.
basically, European Union banned Russia from selling them their bitcoins. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, they cannot exchange any type of cryptocurrency because we know that Russia has created their blockchain to be able to basically do trade through cryptocurrency, right? And so people can buy and sell, either buying crude oil or whatever they need to do, especially like South Africa, Africa, the Asian continent. In that area, they do a lot of business with, their businesses are ran through, because of the crude oil that they get from, long story short, Russia,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's one of those things that I feel like we're seeing this now a true geopolitical, because I know that you were saying like they're all friends, and so I'm just wondering what your thoughts are. Do you think they're still friends, and this is just a way for them to kind of?
Yeah. As I am thinking about how this will impact not them but people. They don't care because they have all the supplies they need, right? As they're politicians. So it won't impact them. It will only impact the civilians. So we would have to think about how this will impact lives of people. Then we will see the proper idea behind this.
So when we look at the actual ETF for Russia, right? Where is it at? Here we go. With that news, we did see a sell-off, or excuse me, here we are, the IM. We're not, I guess we really didn't see much of a sell-off. I would have thought we'd see more. There we go. Oh, there we go. Damn, that was on a 5-minute. Yeah, there we go. We
9%,
did,
right?
yeah, we did see a sell-off here, so it's really interesting to sit there and see what's actually going on right here, right? And this is their stock market, right? Like this is basically ETF that you can actually buy. And I mean, honestly, I hate to say it, but like 10 years, 15 years, right? When Putin's dead, and I mean, even 20 years, I see, like realistically, this is a steal. like, like, like realistically, like it's like buying the S&P 500 at its lows, right? Back in 2008, right? Like it's literally like I was looking at it going like, man, like that's
I think
literally.
this is not the representation of market in Russia, because I think the Russia is like the only country in the world currently, maybe I'm mistaken, that don't have any debts. They have year by year they earn more money than they spend. So now they had like 500 million or billion dollars like on
Savings
plans.
rate.
Yeah, or savings.
Savings
Yeah, yeah,
rate.
yeah.
Yeah.
They are on the green as a country.
Mhm.
The inflation is dropping. Actually, the inflation lowered in Russia this year. Everywhere else, the inflation is growing.
Yeah. Yep. You hit it.
So when we see in here a drop, it's as you said, it's only to those who still to those who will buy it, because it's inevitable that you know that it will grow at some point. Just for example, um, they stopped selling the same amount of what you were saying, oil, right? Crude oil, gas, etc. They stopped selling it, but they are now selling because of the war, right? They were selling like 30% of it, but the price went 3 times up, and they were actually earning, if not even the same, and they were earning more on the gas. So I don't
I
know.
want to.
Maybe I think this will not hit Russia. They
So
don't
one of the
care.
things. So one of the things I want to bring up here real quick, and so I want people to understand in America what's actually going on here. So this is the national debt clock in regards to the United States. Okay. Um, and this is important to pay attention to because you can see where we stand in our national debt in regards to gross domestic product, us selling stuff, and us um, in regards to our debt, right? And the amount of money that we could be making or not making. So I'm going to point out here real quick. Like we see China here. China has $10 trillion in debt, right? We can see this is decreasing. This is at its increasing value. This is their GDP, meaning what their country is out there selling and actually producing, bringing money into the country. Okay, you can see that it is moving up. Okay, comparison, right? This is important to pay attention. They're at 17 trillion. So their rate is about 1 point. Give me 1 second. I want to pull this up real quick. So percentage wise, what is that?
What are you trying to
So
calculate?
it's basically a 50. They basically are making about 50% more than what their debt is. Okay, it's important to understand. It's like 50. It's like 58% more than what their debt is. All right, and you can see that that means that they're actually bringing in more money. Okay, Americans as a nation, we have $31 trillion in debt, and our GDP is 24. Okay, we actually have a negative rate here. Okay, we're losing money based off of inflation. You can see right there that the actual number here is going down. We literally are going down. We're no longer going up. We're literally losing money. You can see here that we're losing every 1,000, 2, 1,000, 2. Every second we lose $10,000 in regards to gross domestic product. Let's see what that percentage is. 524. We are at a 129% negative rate of increase to our debt. So our debt is over 100%. Okay, in relation to what we're actually making. Now let's check out Russia. Now we see China's, right? China's pretty solid, right? Many of these nations, their stuff is still moving up. Americans, we're literally losing money as we speak. All right. External debt to GDP ratio is 104. You can see right here. So good old.
Hey, Pedro, I gotta get going.
Oh, all right, brother. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Talk soon. Bye.
Later. Bye.
See ya.
So you can see here, Russia, right? Their income is $1 trillion or 1.5 trillion. Their debt ratio as a nation is 298 billion. You can see at the speed in which we're seeing an increase, right? They have about a 38% increase in regards to this. Now, this is super important to understand because their actual, we can actually click on this, and I actually love this. You can actually go through, you can find out the American debt rate and everything that correlates with that. I'm actually going to put that in the notes or the comment section here. But these are some of the indicators that I look at. But you can sit there and see, like this is what I've been following this now for about 10 years, 8 years, and I've been watching this just blow up. And this right here, when I saw this a while back where we were actually losing money, that's when I realized like everything's changing. Like we're literally losing money. Like as a nation. Like this is what, and listen, there's whether you like him or hate him, I'm more of a libertarian, right? But Trump, this is what Trump was talking about, that America is losing money, right? So it's very interesting to see this happening. So I find it very a very unique thing. The other thing to also bring this up, this also shows public debt to GDP ratio, right? Our public debt is literally 96% over some. We most Americans are leveraged. If they make $4,000, $3,600 basically is going to debt, right? And they have a very small savings rate, which is what Gabriel's talking about, right? Now I can pull up something similar to interest rates as well as inflation throughout all the countries, but I'll bring that up another day. So I'll make sure you guys want to come check that out. But you can see here that the public debt rate, right, for Russia is 18%. So basically, out of $1,000, right, only $118 it goes to debt, and the rest of it goes into their pocket or savings, right? So it's one of those things that we can sit there and see what's actually going on in the actual world and in regards to debt and income and how things are actually going balance and stuff out. So if we look at, let's say, if I'm looking at a country to bet on, right now, from a fundamental standpoint, Russia is doing very well, yet because of the sanctions, they're hurting, right? Their actual stock market is hurting. But let's say Putin dies or something happens, right? You're going to see.
Sorry. I wanted to add that the stock market might be going down a little, but for many years they are trying to produce so much food to be self-sufficient. So market can go down, but if they can feed their people, their money is on the green, their inflation is lowering. They are the winners in here. The longer this war, supposedly, right? Let's call it. The longer this war with Ukraine or on Ukraine, let's say, because it's not with Ukraine, it's with the people, right? But the longer this war is prolonged, Russia will be the biggest winner in there, and only we as a people will lose, because the sanctions are not against Russia. Just look what's happening. All these sanctions are against people in our countries. We are paying more for gas now. In Poland, I could saw this, that in Poland is supposedly growing GDP, but it's nonsense. It has to be skewed, because in Poland we have at least 100% inflation, because I live in here. I see the prices, for the food, for example, for the cheapest things, all went 2 or 3 times up, all. So it's skewed, basically. They made so much debt right now that they want to they actually Poland took, if I'm correct, 425 billion euro debt to just give to Ukraine. And this is 4.5 year of Polish GDP. It's normally, I would say it's insanity, but at this point, I'm saying it's a deliberate distraction of Poland. No one in his sane mind would do such thing, right? So they are telling in here that they don't have money for many years. They don't have money for Polish people, but suddenly they have money for Ukrainians. Like, they don't give a fuck. They just pumping.
Family friendly.
They just pumping this, this tons of money on that country. Obviously, the poor Ukrainians won't ever see this money, right? But I'm telling you, all these sanctions are just hitting people, because Russia is earning money in either way. The gas, they're selling less gas, like 30%, but they are selling at least 3 times more. They are on the green. They earn more money. But we, as a people, are paying at the same time 3 times for it. In the next year, we already have prices, skyrocketed. But in the next year, they already are saying that for the electricity bill for people will be 3 to 5 times higher, unless you will and there is a limit of 2,000 kilowatts per hour. 2,000 kilowatts per house. Then you will pay even more if you will go over it, right? And for companies, the prices for electricity will go 10 times higher. Is this, Russia will pay for this? This is against Russia?
No. They don't.
We will pay for it.
Yeah.
This is, all sanctions are against people. It's not against, Russia or something. This is against people, because of the sanctions, we will have less money, not Russia.
And I think you hit a point. Is the leaders don't go through pain. It's the people who go through the pain, right?
Exactly. That's my point on the Bitcoin ban. Also, it's not. They don't care. It will not hit them.
Putin doesn't hurt, right? Putin isn't sitting there going, "Oh man, I have to worry about gas. Man, how am I going to fill up
my MetaMask?" I bet that's cool.
Right, exactly. So I think you do hit a good point. It's the people that actually hurt, and I bring this up because I want to show you guys just a couple things. So I really like if you guys go to this. I'm gonna give you guys this as well. This is some of the stuff that I use, that I look at, just some of the data that I check out. Right. So here's the inflation rates worldwide. Right. This is the previous last quarter. This is this quarter. You can see how it's increasing or decreasing. Right, based off of each country. Right, and so based off of the nominal increase and what's actually going on, and these are all based off of a couple other things outside of the country, but and these could be skewed, right? Like that's the other thing
But
is
they
that
are absolutely skewed because I know the prices, because if we want the current inflation rate, we would have to look at the prices of the cheapest articles, right? Because they skew it by doing adding all other things, right? But we would have to add the cheapest articles because most people are using those, like butter, like necessities, right? The food.
Yeah.
We would have to look at those and compare the prices to the last year, and we would have the inflation rate because most of the money of the most of the people will go for the necessities first, right? And I'm telling you, in Poland, they can say it's like 20% inflation, 14% inflation, but this is absolutely lies because in Poland, everything is going up. Like when you go to the shop, it's 100% from last year. Everything went up at least 2 times.
Yeah, but the reason why I bring this up is even in that aspect, right? If we look at, let's say, Russia, right, in comparison to, let's say, other countries, right? So we'll say Russia's interest rate, right? We can see that it's consolidating, starting to push down, right? We like we understand that there is some skew, but I would say that there are things that are going up in value, right? They would not want to put this worldwide here, right? But it's just, to sit there and say that it isn't, like food in Russia. Yes, they have food to be able to feed their people, but the reality is, though, is a lot of that food was coming originally from the Ukraine area, right? They are a breadbasket for Eastern and Western Europe, right? They sit in that between area, and so that's one of the primary reasons why Putin did go towards them, right? That's why he is doing what he's doing, right? Whether you say it's real or not, I don't know, right? It seems like one big hoopla to be able to sit there and say that they're just friends, but I don't know. Like, I know that you're there too as well, so I'm not gonna try to shoot you down. But then if we look at, let's say, the U.S., right, and you look at our inflation, what's actually going on, it's not as much as we're seeing. We're actually seeing it starting to go down, but still, it's still within the 8% in comparison to Russia, right, which is, right, they have a pretty high inflation. But here's the thing to bring up, and this is again important to understand: how much of the debt are they? How much debt do they have in comparison to how much money they make? This
Exactly.
is key. This is key. Right now, they may have 17, 15, 14, but it's nominal because we're talking that it's not hurting them as bad because their debt ratio is only 10 to 15% of their income.
Mhm.
So imagine if you made $1,000 a day, or excuse me, $1,000 a month, right? And you're only spending $150 on your debt, which most Americans, I mean, listen, my rent alone, right, is above 15%, right? And so this is the key to understand what he's speaking about, why he's saying certain aspects. Inflation is only important in relation to how much money you bring in, right? And so it's and over the long haul, we'll see what happens, right? Like if Russia does take over Ukraine, and they're not annexed and pushed out, right? Then you're going to see food wise a very important switch. Russia's going to have basically the ability to be able to feed Western and Eastern Europe. Monetary wise, it is a strategic plan that he's doing, right, for future posterity. I've heard other people say that he wants to unite, just like China wants to unite Taiwan back, and that's another play to paying attention to. Taiwan is one of the most industrial areas that we use to create microchips around the world. They're one of the primary things that they produce, just like Ukraine produces wheat for the rest of the world, or that side of the world. Taiwan produces pretty much for the rest of the world the majority of the chips, and they have all their stuff set up. So this is why China wants, and especially their intake and push for the, I've talked about quite a bit about how China, their primary thing is AI, right, and quantum computing, and what they're really doing, and they need Taiwan for them to have world dominance, right? It's just they have the talent there, they have the industry there, and I don't think they want to. So it's going to be really interesting as we keep moving forward. This is a game being played by the world players at hand, messing with the people, right? Like, are the people going to X out? And I don't see the Russian people pushing out Putin, even though there's a lot of news saying that they are. Listen, Putin, the Russian people have extra money.
This is just propaganda. Just look at the propaganda from Ukraine. How many times, you know what? I'm surprised that people don't remember this, but it was in the Crimea when they were going into Crimea, right? They were saying that basically Ukraine has the biggest amount of tanks in Europe. Like, they could, supposedly they had so many tanks that they could take over any country, right? But suddenly, in this war, they were,
they have no tanks.
They are taking over, and they are pushing away Russia, and Russia, will lose this, etc. And they are showing us what? Just look at the videos. They are showing us they are fighting with Russian front lines, but at the same time you are literally seeing from the videos they produce themselves, they have 5 tanks, like 5-6 tanks going on the road or on the front lines. How they even think about winning this if they have 6 tanks on the pushing, right? It's just impossible. That's why I'm telling everyone to just forget that Ukraine will win this, because it's impossible. Russia will not give up, never, because it's too close to the border to Russia. It's too close to Moscow. They don't want anyone from their enemies be this close to their capital city.
Interesting. It's interesting.
Also, the production of food is destroyed everywhere, as I told you before, that they want to produce scarcity of food now, and that's why
especially in Eastern Europe.
Yeah, everywhere.
Like, it's. I think America. I mean,
just look at. Yeah, look what's happening in USA. They are destroying the farms.
Yeah,
they are destroying the
factories.
Factories
blowing up factories for food.
And at the same time, they are selling this steel to China, and China is buying this up from everywhere.
Yep.
Russia also stopped exporting their wheat. They started accumulating for a few years right now. In Poland they also
are holding.
They also destroying in Poland the food production.
Are they really? I didn't. They're destroying.
Oh yeah,
food plants, blowing up food plants.
Yeah, they are saying, it's they are like killing off hundreds of thousands of pigs, and chickens, and all this propaganda you see that it's African flu of pigs or something like that. All this nonsense is just a pretext to kill off the to kill off the food supply, because if you will kill this many animals, those herds cannot grow like that. We can print money, but we cannot, as
Grow
of yet,
food.
print food, right?
Yeah. As of yet, which is really
Exactly.
interesting because
So-
there is technology that is coming, but it's plant-based and it's high in soy, which increases estrogen, which then makes the male population. So it's very
And
interesting.
they are
So
wanting-
here's one for you. Here's a
and
thought.
they are
Go ahead, you were
yeah,
saying
and
that.
they are also want to push us toward the bugs. Just look at the propaganda of bugs everywhere. Asians ate bugs for thousands of years and they are alive. It's all these bugs and plants. And when you just
When you say box, you saying boxes like or
bugs, B-U-G, bugs,
UG.
B-U-G, bug.
Oh,
No,
bugs,
roaches.
B-U-G, bugs. All right.
Yeah, like cockroaches.
Bugs. Yeah, roaches and stuff, which is really interesting. Like, why do you want to? Why do you want to eat crickets? Like, I hear cricket protein, right? And I'm like,
Yeah. But I think there was one guy that make a good comment. He basically started thinking, about something like this, that they want to push people to eat basically shit. Like, what is the closest thing to it,
bugs.
right? Like, what is the closest thing in between food and excrements, right?
Yeah,
They
bugs.
grow fast. Yeah, they grow fast. They don't tell you that crickets are like 50 or 70% heating, and that you don't eat heating. You don't you don't
Hitting?
you cannot you cannot consume it. Like, your body cannot.
What's it called?
Heating. I don't know if-
HITTING?
No, not. I mean, wait a second. I will check. The name in English.
But it's very, like you said, and so I don't know about all that. I think that it's kind of that might be a little far out there, but it's something to be considering. Like, when we consider the market, like, why isn't it said that the U.S.
I will
debt
place you.
is increasing so fast that our U.S. like, and I bring this up because it's a very, I see. Okay, let me pull that up here real quick. Address, boom. I think it's one of those things that I would have think that they would have at least brought up the idea, at least on the evening news, where chittens.
Heating.
Oh, hittens. So is it called hittens? So, but okay, hittens.
No. Heating is basically like we have skin, right? But
Cat.
heating.
We call
is
it catin in America.
Heating. Okay. It's
It's called chitin here in America.
Okay, in English. Yeah. In Polish, it's heating. Sorry. So this is the molecule that's producing the outer. I don't know what is the name in English for it. Exoskeletons. Yeah, exoskeletons. And bugs are using this to produce their exoskeletons, right? Like, it's like let's call it skin for insects. And you cannot eat it, right? Chitin is not not assimilated by your body.
It is also synthesized.
Yeah, you also
I
cannot
think
eat
some
cellulose, right?
structure of chitins is comparable to the cellular one. It is functionally comparable to the protein keratin. Has proved useful for several medicines and industries and biochemical purposes. I have to go through and read this up. Well, that's just really interesting to sit there and see that it's not edible. Yeah, it's one of the primary things. So, um, but I've heard that uh, cricket protein though is still a very interesting thing because it is one of the most rawest forms of protein, and your body does almost absorb almost all of it. So it's interesting to sit there and see. Huh?
But at the same time, you have to remember that when you grow insects, most of the insects is not edible. Like 70% of it. When we grow cows, for example, I think we are using every part of it.
I think I mean maybe I don't know the full details of that. Like I wish I
They,
could say.
they
Yeah, I
were
don't know.
even using bone, to feed. That's why they were going mad cow, mad cows,
Mad cow
because they
disease.
were
Yeah.
doing, yeah, because they were adding the bones of the diseased cows to the food for other cows.
Yeah. But I remember this. Yeah.
That's
But
why prions went to their brains.
mhm. Now I want to bring this up just simply because when we look at the markets overall, right, we can see that Bitcoin is definitely moving up. We see that Russia is definitely becoming, air quote, a leader in the world, right, in regards to how they're positioning themselves. And we know that a lot, besides China, which has the majority of the nodes um, for most cryptos, right, for Bitcoin and stuff like that. It's interesting that um, I think a lot of I think 4 out of the 5 biggest nodes in Bitcoin is literally in China. Like, go figure, right? Uh, and and I would assume a large portion of Ethereum nodes are also in China as well. I don't know the details. I'm assuming here, but I would assume. Hey, Gabriel, can you check that out real quick and just kind of make sure that I am correct in that? Where are the majority besides America? Um, what's up, Shalom? What's up, Shams? Good to see you, brother. It's good to see you. Um, it's interesting to sit there and see Ethereum's connection, and I would wonder if a lot of majority of the nodes would be in Russia,
Germany,
is in Germany. Okay,
United States. I will send you the link.
that'd be perfect. Yeah, that would be interesting to sit there and see. And obviously Germany and Russia aren't friends, so that's definitely. So I was just wondering, seeing how that would actually be and how that actually looks um, within the markets. But I just find it interesting to see what's actually going on with Bitcoin. I know that Russia was definitely looking to do their commerce within cryptocurrency. That's why they created that blockchain to interact and work through Bitcoin or work through cryptocurrency. It's also interesting to see what's actually going on in Europe and what we're seeing with the European Union step in and really just put a note on the idea of doing any type of business within Russia for crypto. So that's just in the past they were allowing $10,000 transactions between any place in Russia, right? Versus like transferring like millions and millions of dollars. But it's still a lot of money. $10,000 transferred on 50 wallets, right? Uh, in an area, right, at milliseconds at a time. And if you had 100 or 200, 300 wallets, you can transfer $10,000 transaction fees, right, through crypto wallets. It's got a bit of money you can bring through real quick. I mean, millions of dollars easily. if not billions, within hours, at lightning speed wise, the way wallets work. So it's really interesting to see that they didn't see that up front. But yeah, so the majority of the feats are in, the majority of the nodes are in Germany. Then see that? Okay.
No, USA. The second one is Germany.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the U.S. It'd be U.S. Germany. Do you know what the third one would be? Does it give us the whole
Singapore.
breakdown? Singapore. Let's bring that up here. Boom. Ethereum mainnet statistics. There we go. Boom. United States majority. You have Germany next. Japan.
Oh man, this dog. Can you hear the dogs?
Yeah, but puppies and babies, man. Dogs and babies, man. I'm cool with. I have no problem.
Like,
what's that?
One instead of barking is starting always howling. I don't know why.
That's interesting. The majority of them are in Washington.
But politicians are banning it. Yeah.
Wait, give me a second. I don't think that's right. No, Washington is down here. Yeah. Wow. That is interesting.
Washington, like electricity or something?
That is really interesting. The area where it is strongest at is outside in Washington. Oh, that is really, really interesting. Is it really good? Would it let me go any further? Ashburn, man, Ashburn Early Learning Academy. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing that I don't think this is right.
But I don't know. You cannot sort it in here.
And then these are the other hotspots throughout the United States. San Francisco. San Jose, San Francisco. It's really interesting to sit there and see that the primary one is right outside of Washington. Really interesting. Very, very, very interesting, my friends. So, wow, man, that's actually really interesting stuff there. There's a part of me that wants to go check that out and see, kind of like. I bet you, man, it's probably under lock and key there. There's no way I could even get there if I really wanted to. If anybody knows anybody out in Ashburn, Virginia, let me know. It would be really cool to be able to kind of check out some of the stuff that's actually going on right outside of Washington, D.C. in regards to the largest Ethereum node. That's really, really, really interesting. Let's see if we can. I'm going to see if we can actually go through and check this out.
But wait a second. So they banned Russia, but not Ukraine, from using Bitcoin?
Yeah.
So what's the issue now? They will just use ledgers, go over the border, do the transactions, and come back.
Probably. Probably. Oh man. Let's try this out.
If they are smart enough, and I think they are, and with enough money, they don't even have to go over the border. They will just, place the antennas with internet from Ukraine. What
Uh,
do you think? Right?
yeah, they could. Very much.
Wouldn't VPN even help with that?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I know that there is, the airway. I think you're nailing that aspect. If they could just get into a satellite and just push things through that way as well. But I don't know. I don't know the details of that. Definitely, that's an interesting thought. Period, because of what's actually being said. Bit notes. Let's check out bit. Good point. Bit notes. Copy link. It's really interesting. Right there outside. Website blocked due to pop website. Oh, this one was not. This one was blocked. What's going on with this one? I can't pull up bit notes, my friend. Bit notes.
BitNotes IO?
Yeah, it won't allow me. My software won't allow it.
Why?
It says that there's malware to it on it.
Use,
So.
wait a second. I'll try this one.
It's all good, man. But let's go ahead and go into the charts here because I know we've been talking a lot about this. And people are like, dude, come on. All right. So we're noticing again that we're bouncing off of this area here of supply. We did hit that 50-period moving average on the daily of Bitcoin. And we are seeing a bit of a sell-off here. We got big news on Friday. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens or continues to happen. We're kind of waiting on Friday to see what's going on. Real quick, let's check out what's going to happen on Friday.
Use this one, this website.
It's all good. You can pull it up. You pull it up. It's the non-farm payroll, which is really what we're seeing in the market. So the biggest key is this, right, guys? Is as we're moving for a non-farm, and then also what else? We're really waiting on the non-farm payroll and what's actually happening there. So unemployment rate, non-farm employment change, all this stuff is happening at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So these are important things to be paying attention to as we're actually moving and in this market, like really important, right? Because reality is this is actually going to change some of the market movements as we're moving. Now to point out, we've kind of had a zero sum in regards to the market this week, right? If you look at the weekly chart so far, right? Actually, quite the opposite. We actually are moving up. So this is why, man, I see it's coming down. We'll see. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, right? But like I said, if I look at the whole entire week, we're not putting a lot of buyer wicks in. Right? The whole entire week, I've been saying we should go down. I don't know why we're not. We should go down. That should now make sense that they're suckering everybody in for a non-farm just to sell off against them. Oh, they're brilliant.
What is non-farm?
They are non-farm is basically things that aren't the farm. Here you go. I'll show you. I don't know the exact meaning of the actual, but it's basically an economic report.
Higher. It was higher.
Oh yeah, there we go. 5:30. Here's non-farm. Unemployment rate and non-farm is coming out 8:30, right? So it's basically going to go over everything. Excuse me. Forgive me.
So it will be
non-farm
massive.
payroll measures the change in the number of people employed during the previous month, excluding the farming industry. So basically, that's what it is. Yeah. So it's basically seeing everybody who is employed right now. We can see here that during COVID, there was nobody that was employed. Ton of unemployment. But we can see here, and we can actually pull this one up. I actually like using on farm. This gives us a better. No, not South Africa. That makes right. Let's go to America. America. Indicators, inflation's rate, GOP. Second. CPI, non-farm. United States. Currency, government bonds, GOP. What is this? Basically, and we can put it in these levels here as a line. Right, you can see here, and then we put it over a period of 10 years. So you can see here, like it's pretty clear that the market is definitely moving in a direction that is down for employment. And that's really actually kind of crazy to think, because they're saying that they're trying to bring people back into the market to actually start working here, because we do have a shortage and in the market.
What did I told you the other day? The corporations want what? Workers.
Workers, yeah.
Exactly what you see. I think we should make a list, just to just look what's happening, what is at the same time they are doing, and just check the list, and we could see probably in what direction the market will go based on that.
This is how much price is moving up to pay an employee. So you can see here that the cost of living has been moving up over since 2020, January 2020. So 25 years. Whoa, so we're almost, it's getting to the point where it's starting to become parabolic, which means that it is, that's not good. Yeah, we don't want to see something like that. Either pricing deflation needs to happen. Is really what we need to see.
It won't happen because they want to own people. They won't allow it to crash. Because just imagine how much money is in the like buildings, non-moving buildings, right? Just why they did allow people to come back to the offices?
Oh no, they want people to. They're trying to get people to come back into the offices here in America.
That's why, because if no one will use it, the building has no value, right? And how much money is were pumped into these buildings? In Poland, they are showing you that there is small inflation, but banks, like the central bank, skyrocketed the rates so much that people are now paying twice for their debts as they were paying. At least. I have a friend in work. She told me that she was overpaying her debt for like 1 or 2 years now, and because of the raise of the rates, now it looks like she wouldn't pay anything at all. Like there's no difference.
Really? That's crazy. So they wouldn't allow her to pay it off. That's what you're saying.
No. They raised so much rates
Oh,
that now people, instead of 1,000 zloty balance, are paying 2,000 or 2,500.
so she can't literally pay off her debt because they're raising the
Yeah,
rates.
but now it looks like because of the higher rates, she will have to pay more, basically.
Yeah.
So and there are people that will go bankrupt because of this.
Now my question is this: do you guys have locked-in rates where you can? So here in America, we have locked-in rates that that don't balloon. Back during the GFC, the Great Recession, back in 2008, we see our Great Financial Recession, GFC, that there was these predatory loans called balloon credit loans that basically like started off low, and then because rates were so low, it was advantageous to, if you were, let's say, a house flipper and you were going to have a house for maybe 6 months, 3 to 6 months, it's advantageous to buy these loans at these low prices. You know what I'm saying? And then you take on the property for 3 years, 2 years, right? And then you sell it within 2-year period or after 2-year period, and you have a lower interest rate based off of that. And then what happens? Interest rates go up, it goes up with it, right? And so since we've had a lot of basically free money for people, right? They've been able to take advantage of this. Back in 2008, these loans were actually given to normal people and saying, oh, these loans are going to be low, don't worry about it, they'll stay low. And then interest rates started moving up, and as that started happening, we saw the great drop. Now we're seeing something similar, right? But a lot of those predatory loans, even though they're out there still, or they're not, there were major rules that were put in place to say you can't sell it to the public, right? Like you sell these to the public, they need to meet certain criteria, right, to be able to be a part of this. So that aspect for me is, as I'm sitting there seeing that, right, as an individual, did that happen or watching? I was part of that actually. With that, did you see something like that in Poland, where a lot of these people got put into predatory loans and basically?
Yeah, with what was the country? They were using the currency of other country, because basically saying people that it will be cheaper, right? So they make a bank on it because everyone was pushing for it, everyone, right? And in 2 years, or after 2 or 3 years, all this money went up like 2 times. So basically, people, I'm not, I stopped believing any coincidences long time ago. I think that they knew exactly what will happen. That's why they were pushing for this currency. Because to earn money is you have to have a control of some sort. Yeah? Like you have to have a control over production, over supplies, over you have to control like a factory, right? You need You have producing line, and you need a control over this producing line. So I'm thinking in that ways. Basically, banks are the same, right? If they want to make money, they need to control the market. It's easy. And the same this other guy you showed me was saying, basically, right? So this
Now,
hedge fund or what was it?
hedge fund guy. There we are. So, but yeah, so tomorrow we've got the non-farm. So I sit there and I'm looking at the market saying, are they pushing it up? We're hitting some higher time from SMAs. We are starting to see a sell-off. Now, the key though here is this, is that we need to see seller wicks being put in at these top levels up in the supply zone, right? So if we're seeing that up in here, that's really where we're going to know that they're really putting in. So you can see here, seller wicks, seller wicks here, not much of buyer wicks as it's moving up. But like down in these lower levels, we do see buyer wicks down at these lower levels. So to me, you can see that it came back down to this level here, right? Now we're pushing it up. We're seeing seller wicks step in, seller wicks starting to step in. And look, yeah, man, they're moving. So my prediction for tomorrow, right? We'll probably go sideways here, boop, 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 doo, 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 right? And then we'll shoot up to that 39, that 2393 area here, or they might blow through that and go to the next level up here, right? Which is, because there's still a lot of stops here. So let me pull this up here and then drop it. So tonight, if they decide they're going to drop it, they're going to push this up. If they are going to raise it, we're going to see a sell-off tonight down into these lower levels, and then they're going to push it up. Okay. And as we're moving the market, you need to be seeing buyer wicks as we're pushing down. Okay. We need to be seeing buyer wicks where prices being defended by the algorithmic movements. So as they're dropping it, ding, 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 you want to see it being bought up, right? And so because people like me who follow the trend will be short in the market, right? And so as they're shorting the market, what's going to happen is the institutions are going to allow the market to drop. But then what happens is the institutions are taking those shorts and they're taking the buy side of it, or vice versa. If the market is moving up, right, then what you'll see is two ways. You'll see the algorithm pushing it up and then also dropping it down, as well as guys like you who want to be part of the trend aspect. So there's just a bunch of stuff. So that's something you need to be mindful of. The other side behind it as well is, as I'm looking at this stuff, also from a daily perspective, if you look at this, it's kind of, I really don't know, because we have a big huge buyer to buyer. Look, this is nice, kind of sideways here. So again, if we do push up, we're the next level is right here at that 2120 or 21,300 to the, or excuse me, the 21,180. Excuse me, the 21,128. Woo! My eyes, right? They're getting better every day. Just keep saying that. So we could jump right here. I doubt if we'll jump back up to these 22,397. If we do hit this area here, I see this coming down all the way down to here easily. Like if we just shoot up here, I see this dropping down. Be really interested to see what happens within the market though tomorrow for the S&P 500. So it's going to be really, really interesting. We do see a little bit of an increase in the longs, as I was talking about earlier today. So paying attention to that is really important. If you guys who are listening, if you don't mind, like, subscribe. If you could just hit that like button for the actual video, I'd appreciate that on whatever platform you're watching this on. And if you could actually go out and send this out as well, I'd appreciate this as well on some of your social platforms, so I can get some views on other places. I'd appreciate that. If you find my my content interesting or good, I would appreciate that. So when we look at then, so this is Bitcoin. Let's check out Ethereum here for the next portion of this. Ethereum again is, look, man, I would have thought that it would have at least been higher, but it's not. It's sitting at this point. So we're kind of seeing what's going on. We hit our zone again at this level here. This is that daily zone that we hit, that we're hitting. We're seeing a sell-off coming in, potentially coming back down to our levels down in here on the higher time frame. If we check out BNB, as always, it's stronger than all the other babies out there, all the other coins out there. So you do see us moving back up into this level here to create a new higher high. I do see maybe us hitting that level up here of that 50 period moving average on the monthly and that 200 period daily moving average as we move forward. So I definitely do see things moving in that aspect. Definitely still continuing up. I'm still bullish on this until we get to these levels here. Next, if we look at the XRP again is looking like they're wrapping up that case there. So definitely seeing buyers step in. It is above that 200 period moving average, which right now BNB, which is out of the 3 top tier coins, is above, or it's about to, it's still below that 50 period moving average. We're tapping this 200 or the 8 period moving average on that monthly right here. But you can see absolutely that it's above it, right? Here's price, here is the 8 period moving average. So this is really interesting to see, right, in this level. This is absolutely interesting. So we very much could be pushing up. We did put in a decent wick down here for buyers. So we did see BNB go down pretty deep, where found support at this level here, and then previous supply now becomes demand, which is this level here. Then we saw a rally up. So it's a really interesting area at these levels here. If we look at the 5-minute short-term time frame, when the market does move tomorrow, not if, but when, I would be shocked if it doesn't. You can see here that it's kind of going sideways here, waiting for the actual anticipation of the move. So you can see we've been playing off of that 400 period moving average this whole entire time on that smaller time frame. So again, look to see it potentially come find support there and then push back up if we do see a rally. All right. Make sure you put your stops in. Make sure you're being smart about all of this. All right. If we come to the next level here, give me 1 second. XRP Solana. I keep forgetting. All right, so Solana, we are seeing a bit of a sell-off here again. I've been a little bearish on Solana, but still, how you doing, Gabriel? You doing well?
Yeah, I think it's okay.
So we're seeing Solana right now push in right here, but we are above that 50 period moving average, which is nice. We are finding a little bit of support right here. So this is something that to be paying attention to. We did hit this level right here with right here. So I would look to maybe capture the last little bit right here of this level before we do see a sell-off. This is important, right? Because we have that daily. These very much could come that 80 and 89 and 100. You can see here did keep price from continuing, and then we saw a sell-off, but it did pierce through this. So this most likely will hold up some of this. But most importantly, if we look at that weekly zone, we'll see that we've been touching that 20 period moving average. So the reason why I'm bringing up these higher time frames is tomorrow we could see a major shoot up to these higher time frame SMAs, stopping everybody out, right, who's short. Hence, then also seeing a reversal back down to where it's at or even lower, our Solana. So be paying attention and mindful of where we're sitting at these levels. Okay. That 20 period moving average is an important level to be paying attention to. And hindsight, or potentially seeing hindsight, we have 2 major seller wicks. Again, we have another major seller wick, right? Over the past 3 primary months, we've seen it end poorly, right? Even though we have higher highs and we are consolidating, There are more seller wicks over the long pods we're seeing at a dip for Solana. So be mindful of that. Again, seeing it blowing through everybody else and then coming back down. All right, guys. Next, if we look at ADA, and I know you're going to yell at me because I haven't put together this.
Oh, right.
I
I
know. I said I pulled it up this morning. And I was like, I'm going to get yelled at. Oh, so
Where is your homework done?
what's up?
Where is your homework done?
When is my homework done? You're right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll get it done. I will get it done. So tomorrow, I'll just get it done after the actual live show. Let's put it together and make it happen. But you can see here that we are finding support here on ADA, good old Cardano. But again, we are seeing some sellers step in. We did push up for the week. Again, I always bring this up. If we see push up during the week, most likely, or the first part of the month, it's most likely going to sell off towards the end of the month. So we need to be paying attention to that as it continues down. I was hoping for a greater push off of this day chart, but again, originally we pushed up. We did not put in a higher high here, and now we're going to continue down. You can see I was hoping even for a little bit more of a push, but there's really nothing sitting here, and we're probably going to come back down to these lower levels of 40 on Cardano. Personally, like I've said to you guys, I'm more of a buyer at these lower levels of 40 and 39, right? And even into the lower levels down in here for Cardano, just because I feel like that's where it's most likely going to be headed to. So at these levels is where I feel like it's probably going to go. And even though it's a top 10 coin, right? We'll see it. It needs to come down where buyers are at. Right? And that's one of the things you need to be paying attention to, right? Where are the buyers truly sitting, right? And I feel like they're down at these levels here. Next, let's go ahead and check out Doge. Doge. Good old Doge, man. Battle for its life, man. It's not playing around. We see it coming back right here. Hit this at level of the weekly 20 period moving average. We are seeing a bit of a sell-off that's holding pretty strong here. And if we come right above, we're also paying attention to that 50 period moving average on that monthly. So these are major junction turning points here. So you need to make sure that you're mindful of that and play in accordance with it, right? Like if you're fighting these and you're going long and you're hitting those, you're going to get smacked around and most likely get your money taken out, right? If you're moving up and we're coming into those levels, these are big, these are Mike Tyson level like moving averages, right? It's not going to get through those within, with one try. You'll see it 2 or 3 days, if not a couple weeks, where we kind of play around with that. So like I said, I've been telling there's a fight here because there's buyers and sellers on both of these. So on both levels, we do see here there is a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2 right here. 1, 1, 1, 1. So there is some buying at this level here. I think what they're trying to do is hold it, but it's looking like it's giving way to the seller stepping in. So we'll see if they bring it down. If it does come down, we'll see Dogecoin at that 611 area, 6 cents 11. So yeah, be ready for that. There is this recent supply that we came and touched and then saw a sell-off. Be ready for maybe even some support at this level, but I'm not 100% with it because we did test it already and we put in a lower high right here, which is basically a signal saying that it's going to go down even at a lower level. So actually, is that a lower high? Oh, it's a tweezer top. Oh, that's interesting. Hey, we'll see what happens. I would say that even in tweezer top, if this makes a lower low, right below here, we're moving down further. If we have another tweezer top or if we have a higher low from this level based off of this moving average, then I can see us actually holding that. It all depends on what's going to happen. If that 8 gets up to here by the end of the day, so we'll see what happens. Let's check out dot. Dot is sitting again, looking very similar to Solana. Pretty much the same thing that we're going to be able to pull up. Whereas Solana is messing with that. Right, we do have some support coming in on Solana, whereas DOT we do not. So I'll show this here real quick. Right, like we really don't have a lot of support sitting. Here we are next, right? We don't have a lot of support really coming in for DOT. So to me, I'm definitely much more bearish on this level here, saying it's going to come down further. Again, I feel like the next level is sitting at that 489 mark as we look at this. Next one is Matic. Now, Matic's an interesting thing, and the reason why interesting thing is because we're seeing some movements here where the market is definitely showing a lot of strength as we move up. Poly's got a lot of good things going on with them. So it's one of those things I feel like we could definitely see some major moves as if we see this continue up. You need to be mindful that we do have some supply right here in conjunction with the monthly sitting here. So these are little things you need to be mindful of. So if you're long here, we're going to want to go long at least up into the 87 mark. If we see a sell-off, we're going to find some support either here or some support sitting at the 8-period moving average. Most likely, we'll lick this area here, do a sell-off, come down, find buyers, and then push up. So that's in a nutshell there. And then we have SHIB. So again, SHIB, like I've said in the past, has been fighting on both ends. You have buyers and sellers sitting there. On a daily chart, we're in between these white lines, basically just trading in between. So our trending mechanism might not, until we see this bounce off of here and continue above this point, closing, and then continuing up and finding support at this level, I would say that we're still sideways until then. Just simply because it's literally just going sideways right in this level for the last 2 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 2 weeks. We've gone through this sideways motion. So again, play off of this if you guys want to. If we continue down, these are going to be our lower junction points. These are our higher junction points where we want to flip and go short. And we're going to go long around these areas here until we break out of this moving average or out of this sideways pattern. Make sure you use a smaller time frame to get in at a choice position that you personally are comfortable with. Again, this is not financial advice, but this is for entertainment, social, educational purposes only. All right, so that's it in a nutshell, guys. If we look, oops, sorry about that, my bad. But we're seeing here though that this is a sideways pattern. And that's it in a nutshell, my friend. Any questions?
What are you showing Bitcoin?
Oh, no. I was just going over all the major coins.
Yeah, but what are you showing Bitcoin?
Yeah, this was Shiba. This was Shiba.
Yeah. I know, but I'm asking if you were showing also Bitcoin in this top 10 or
yeah, we were going. Yeah, we were on a dipping on. But what's up? Talk to me.
Yeah, I had a phone call. Sorry.
Go ahead. Oh yeah. You weren't here for that. Yes. So from a movement standpoint, we're going sideways. It's going sideways until tomorrow with the non-farm payroll, and then when that happens, you'll see the market next week continue either up or down with whatever we plan on seeing. Typically, the market will do this. We also have earnings season coming in, so a lot of big companies are going to be coming out with earnings that will most likely trade the market either up or down and allow it to be able to move. So that's another thing that is coming up here soon. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Your mic is hard to hear.
Is that better? Can you hear me now? Is that better? Can you
Now
hear me
it's
better?
way
Is that better? Okay, all right, perfect. Yeah, I was just gonna say that the market is basically just gonna go inside. There's really no real prediction until I really see what happens tonight, right? If the market decides it's gonna move up, then I would say the market will most likely, if we don't have a lot of buy wicks, it will turn around at the actual 8:30 report Eastern Standard Time. So that's actually really interesting. Really interesting. So I'm done for the day. Anything you want? Any final words that you want to say to the audience?
Take care, everyone.
Yes. Take care. Be smart. Use your stops. Make sure that you guys are following the trend. If the market is going up, go long. If the market is going down, get out or short. Be smart in what you do. Thank you so much for your guys' times and many blessings. And remember, the only thing you can control is your stop. So make sure you get out of a market of a losing trade. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I wanted to invite you later to the coin lounge.
Okay.
We will have a few videos, probably, or you could show how you do the stuff when they will bet on Dodge bets with about Bitcoin.
All right. So
You don't have to like bet, but I would like people.
the thing is I don't think that the SEC would appreciate that, right? So we got to be very careful because the SEC could put me in jail over something like that. So
No. It will be only on Telegram. It's like
no, I would
listen.
not do that.
It's
No,
a launch.
no. Listen, in the USA, something like that could get me in trouble, so I can't do that, right? But I don't mind going in and basically looking at it and just having fun and us, kind of going in. But for me to teach somebody to play something like that, that would
Okay.
be against the rules of the USA, and I don't need to do that. So, like I'm just right. So, but thank you so much for that invite. And then, but yeah,
Okay.
we'll talk later just regarding some of the other new stuff that I want to bring up and talk about tomorrow. So we'll talk again. All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon. And you guys have a blessed day. Again, guys, stay safe, have fun, and we will talk about you guys. And and I'll see you guys same time, 11 to 11:15. All right, many blessings, and I will talk to y'all soon. Here we are.